Okay, let's go and get started since we only have like about an hour. So my name is David Smith. I'm here at the Center for Spatial Studies, and I'm the Spatial Instruction Manager. So I work with a lot of, I've had some of you in my classes I used to teach, and this is Nate Stroud, who's our Director of Technology. He also works in the center, so the two of us are kind of here to help you, or introduce some ideas to you about Survey123 and the Collector app. So how many people I know, how many people have had or are in SPA 110 right now? Okay. Oh yeah, right, you guys have been in there, okay. And you know, the rest of you are in it right now with Alana, right? So you're here for SPA credit and all that good stuff, okay. And also we have an adjunct faculty from teaching. Okay, what do you teach?
In School of Business Marketing.
Oh, okay, excellent. Okay, good. So basically over the next hour, we're going to introduce you to Survey123 mostly, and we're at the very end, we'll talk about Collector. But I know you guys already know about it in SPA 110. Have you guys done Collector yet? Haven't done Collector yet? What's that?
I did it in a different class.
Different class, okay. So we'll kind of talk about that at the very end, because it's certainly for you guys in 110, this will be applicable for you because you're going to learn it later and you're going to be working with desktop software that'll help too. So, I guess you have some handouts. So let's go and get started. So, since Nate and I always like to keep things hands-on, let's go ahead and we're going to collect some data right away. So we're going to get you outside and we're going to go out and you're going to try this good orange, bad orange survey that we created a couple years ago for SPA 110. Kind of a fun little activity. What I want you to do is, first thing to do is open up, like, if you have Chrome, Chrome is real easy. What's that?
Yeah, you can use your smartphones.
Yeah, use your smartphones now. You basically need a QR reader, or like in Chrome, it's got a QR reader already built into it that you can click on and see if you can open up this thing, or you can put in the bit.ly if you don't have that. Let's go ahead and get you started on that. And then I'm going to have you go out and collect some data. Let's see here. I think I have to do the same thing.
Wait, I'm confused, David. So can you use Chrome to scan the QR
Yes,
code?
yes. So if you go to Chrome, what did I say? Did I say Google this?
You said Chrome?
I think that's
So how do we get to
okay.
it?
Yeah.
So if you go to Chrome and just open up like a new tab, down at the very bottom, when you try to open a new URL, there's going to be a little icon for a URL code. Do you see that? Okay. Let me see if I can get your attention here. So this is what you should see. This is a survey. This is just a survey I've put together, and you'll notice there's a map on this thing, and it's got some questions for you. Okay. So I'm not going to tell you anything more about this because there will be some surprises as you move into this. So what I want you to do is I want you to go out, just go outside. Don't worry about finding an orange. Okay, don't have to do that. But I want you to just kind of play with the app for a few minutes. If you find an orange, that's great. But we don't have enough time for you to go canvassing all over campus looking for oranges. So I really need you to just, you could go run over there if you like to. That would work. That's fine with me. But we only have a few minutes. So go out and play with this app. What I want you to do, you need to do at least 3. So in other words, yes, you find one, no, it's on the ground, yes, it's in a tree, and then you're going to notice something's going to happen when you say this one. You'll see why there's at least 3 data points I want you to put in. Make sure you take pictures. You'll notice there's no pictures, it's not asking for pictures yet, so I want you to play with the app and see how it works. So you can kind of play with it, and you'll come back and we'll talk about how we created it, and then hopefully there's enough time for you to try to make your own app. So that's what we're going to try to do in the next 45 minutes. Okay? Head outside and play with the app. Like I said, you submit at least 2 or 3 data points, minimum. And then come on back as soon as you can. We're going to get started.
There really weren't very many out there. There really weren't very many out there. Were there? Not
Not
on
on
trees.
the trees, not on the trees.
Really?
I think over the spring break
They
they
did.
harvested them.
Oh, they did harvest.
Yeah.
I did notice that last week. Okay, so nice job on data collection. Looks pretty good. So right now I'm over in ArcGIS Online. So I know you guys know about this. You guys should know about this. So basically, so one of the things that just happened is, so like so many other things you're doing with the GIS now, everything, a lot of it can be cloud-based. And this basically, this application is cloud-based. I'm able to access the feature service, the data that you're uploading into the cloud is basically just a service that we can consume just about anywhere. We can put it back on the desktop, but we can just bring it into ArcGIS Online. So here's the basic data that you're out there collecting. So if I just open up the table, I can see in a matter of a few minutes, 25 data points was collected. So you basically, that's kind of what you did. So that's the data, and let's see, I haven't tested this. Let's see.
That's sad.
So let me get one down here. I know it's not so sure it'll pop up.
Gonna eat her.
Let's see, I need a picture.
Pull the map. You guys take a picture?
So here's somebody that did that. Notice this is all the data you collected, and I do have a picture.
That's me.
You sure that's an orange?
I don't know.
Of all the pictures we
I
can
told you
grab.
there's some.
So you'll notice that, I'm not in Survey123, I'm not anywhere near that, I'm just basically sitting in ArcGIS Online. But you'll notice that it's basically creating this feature service we could bring it in on another phone, on their tablet, desktop, you can bring it in all over the place. So that's kind of something to kind of keep in mind. So I'm sure people from SPA and Tim will know all about that. Well, let's go over and look at, so here's.
So for you guys are doing 110, so it created that layer without you having to like create new fields and pick a field type and all that stuff that you usually have to do instead of Pro and ArcGIS Online, right? It just did it for you. So we can go back and look at it in a minute, but each one of those questions is now a field, and based on whatever the question type was, it made you a field of that type. So it just made you a regular layer like any other layer. Actually.
So you notice that, as Nate mentioned, each of these now, basically each of those questions became a field in the table.
It enabled attachments for you. That's why you can put the photos on. So it's the standard stuff that you usually do. It's just, you're just making a little survey with Shea do it.
So
loud and afraid.
So on this, I'm in my basically Survey123 because I created it, so I can basically access a lot of analysis work. So as I'm doing this survey, and I got people out there doing this, there's all kinds of different metrics basically it's kind of keeping track of. So if you design a survey, you can come into your survey area and you can watch the data. You can and it does a nice job of kind of giving you all kinds of different feedback. So 76% were basically on the ground, which would have not expected that like 2 weeks ago, I guess.
Yeah.
So, and you can just kind of see all the metrics are in here. And also you can access the data from here also. So we can see the data. Same, look, notice it looks exactly like ArcGIS Online now, over on that web map, because basically it's the same thing. It's exact same data just being used, accessed through the different. What's up?
The names.
Is there
What would you like to?
Where'd you go ahead? I didn't save it.
Those ones.
Okay, so you get a sense of what's going on there. So far, so good? So let's go ahead and, so that's kind of what it looks like. What I wanted to do is I wanted to kind of dive into the design of this, because I want to give you a chance to try to design. I'm just going to let you pass those around. This is basically just a worksheet of what we're going to talk about right now. I want to just kind of show you some of the components that go into designing a survey, so you can kind of play around with this in the next about 15 minutes. These things are really fast. They're really easy to put together. Just depends how much time you want to spend in them. So what I did, as you can see, I'm in the survey right now, and I'm in the design of it. And these are all these different type of questions you can bring over. So I basically literally just started dragging things over. Like the very first thing you notice, there's a map on here. So you can go over here and you can bring things like that in here, like a geopoint. And that I could just drag that over onto the map, and I get my very first question, a geomap. And as I went down through this, I did that, and then I started asking some questions. You notice you saw this one, And then you saw this one, but this is where it gets a little interesting, is right here.
Take a look over here, as he's
Yeah.
clicking on each one of these, the details are coming up here. So we just drag them on, we click it, and then like here's, you know, the label for the question. You can put a little hint, which if you hover over it, it'll kind of give you a hint what to fill in. If there's choices, it has all that kind of stuff, so.
So in the handout, you'll notice the very first thing I have this one highlighted, and that's showing up right now. And you'll notice that, like Nate said, is basically what do you want to call it, basically the question, and then the choices, you can put this in over there, and then it's starting to build it over here. What's really critical here, and I'm showing this down earlier, but what happens is then you start setting these conditions. It's like, okay, you know, I do this late on the handout, but these are the rules now. So you can see what happens is I said, no, if it's on the ground, I want to show this. If I say it's on the ground, I want to show these two things get shown. But if you say it's on the tree, I don't want to show these, I want to show this. So what's fun about this, and you really just have to kind of play with it, you can start putting these conditions on it saying, well, it depends on what they say to me is what I'm going to bring up the next question. You kind of saw that, didn't you, as you were playing with the app? It's like, well, it all depended on how you answered this, depending on what you got. What's really fun about this tells you it's going to go here if you answered yep, and then it's going to say no, it's going to go here, and it's going to go here. So the build is really nice. It's pretty simple to work with because you're just basically setting conditions, and it basically tells you what it's doing.
Where'd you create the conditions?
Right down here.
Ah.
So I set these rules.
Okay.
So I put all these rules together. So that's how that works. So I just wanted to kind of show you that as you go through each of these, you kind of get different things. You can see on some of these I have all kinds of conditions. This is another one that so I highlighted on the I highlighted this one on there because I want you to see that not only can you link from one question to another question, I'm actually linking in this rules, I'm actually linking from the responses that are in the question. So you can actually go down a level. So right here, you'll notice when we did this, we had 4 different choices. And so we said, yeah, it looks good, looks good, looks good, and then no, something else is going on. But if you played around with it, you'll notice that, if you look at these rules, basically the first 3, I said, okay, go and do a selfie. The 4th one, though, we said, let's go someplace else, so I actually went to a different question. So it's kind of fun, but you can see how you can really tailor this, even depending on what the person answers, you can take them off in a different direction and bring different things up. So it's really kind of fun. The more you play with this thing, it's really pretty intuitive. You just have to kind of play with it.
Yeah, I mean, you can use it. I mean, it's really flexible and they're really quick and easy to put together, as opposed to a lot of other stuff. Like if you're trying to make a layer in ArcGIS Online, this would have taken a while to think through how to do this. And you can't do the like, you know, if you answer this, do this. If you answer this, do this. You can't usually do that kind of stuff. So this is a cool one. I've seen this used a lot in like bio blitzes. You guys have seen that? So like basically you get a bunch of people in an area, say basically catalog every single animal that you see. It's like, so, you know, did you see a bird or mammal or reptile, whatever, and you put those in and they say, okay, like what kind of species was it? And you can kind of get down into you know, what color it was and that kind of stuff. So you can use this in lots of different ways. And then it's just another layer you can use inside of ArcGIS.
Okay. So far, so good. Questions so far?
What's the advantage of using Survey123 over Collector?
So there's a couple different things that are going on right now. One thing is you notice, did you have to open up an app to do this?
Yeah, right.
Did you?
Oh, no,
You did not, right?
I did,
It's just
yeah.
browser based. So as long as someone has a URL, they can go right to the survey, which that's one nice thing about it. Don't need an app. You can basically you can give that URL to anybody. Anybody can access the survey. So that's kind of nice.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one of the advantages to this. The thing is, you notice you can't tweak it as much though. You don't have quite as much control
That's easy to do.
on the kind of underneath it as you do with Collector, because Collector's doing a lot of different things for you. It's collecting more data. But if you're just doing individual, like little questions like this works well because it's so easy to set up.
So like in Collector, that map could have a bunch of other layers on it, and you could get some other reference layers. You can turn things on and off. You can measure. You know, it's map based. This is more like question based. Everything map in Collector, right? You can't add another layer to that. You pick a base map, that's all you can do for that.
Yeah, because
So-
the nice thing about this, if this was in Collector, if I was in Collector, I would have seen all your data, you would have seen everybody else's data all at the same time. All of them would have been coming up at the same time. Survey123 doesn't work that way. It basically is just like, I'm taking a point, I'm submitting it, now I'm taking another point. Collector, it's collecting all the data, and you're seeing each other's data. If you guys haven't done that in your class yet, but that's really fun. That's kind of an interesting, that's what Collector is really nice for. So there's kind of two different things for two different applications, although they definitely have overlap. The one thing Nate and I like about this one so much is it's so easy to set up. You can do this in a matter of minutes. You can have a little web map, spin it up, and you can collect some data with really fast. You can't, Collector takes some time. So let's go ahead. So do you have any questions about this? Kind of, do you get a sense of how this is working, how that thing is getting layered out a little bit? You can kind of see it on that flow chart, so I wanted you to see that. But let's go play. That's really more important. So go ahead, if you have, does anybody have their laptops with them?
Yeah.
Okay, you have a laptop. Do you guys, you can sign in on the computers behind you if you like. I guess that's probably the best way to do it. Let's just go ahead and get signed in. I guess we should have done that earlier. Yeah.
Yeah, again, you don't need to have ArcGIS installed or anything, it's all browser based.
So either fire up a computer or use your laptop, whatever you like to do. This is the nice thing about this, is you don't have to have any apps.
And then the login is, the website is just survey123.arcgis.com.
What I want you to do is go down to the very bottom. There's a little video here you can watch if you like. But if you go to the very bottom of this, you'll say basically get started. There's a get started. If you click on that, it's going to get you into the place where
You can also go here.
where they can log in that way.
Yeah.
You'll log them in.
I actually don't know.
Yeah, I wasn't sure. Well, I'm already logged in, but so who's got? And if you log into your account, you should see what. Let's see some people in there. So what actually? I noticed a lot of.
Because they already logged in, it asked them to log in, so they're already.
Oh, it's already been. What do they give you there? Yeah, I guess some of these are just shared in our entire org. I think someone was working on this like this last week. I shared a bunch of them. I don't know what the problem I'm talking about. Must be something that's been
I
shared.
think it's Jake.
Oh,
So when-
okay. So, as everybody, looks like almost everybody's here. So, I'm gonna go,
Should be
plug
it.
it in. And I got the same thing again. Okay, so you notice here's my survey with 25 data points in it. So there's my survey. You won't have this because it lives in my content. So you can create a new survey. So let's just do that. So let's create a new survey. And let's just give this thing a name.
Do you want them to do what you're doing, or do you want them to think of their own
I
thing?
don't know. What do you guys want to do? Does anybody have?
Feel
you can-
free to, I think that's part, feel free to make your own if you really want to try something different, or just do exactly what you guys are
Yep.
doing.
You can do the orange thing if you want to, just to kind of just since you ever have a guide.
It asks you use Web Designer, use the Web Designer option. So there is another option, in that you can actually install and add into Excel, and then it does some more fancy stuff. But you can do just about everything without it. So.
Yeah, let me catch up here. I think Nate is, if you haven't gotten this far,
So go ahead, yeah, just give it a name, a tag, doesn't really matter. And you can either make up your own thing or follow along with exactly what Dave does.
you can do either way. Because you're literally, as you're going to see when you get in here, you're literally just going to start dragging items from the right-hand side, and you're going to start building the survey. That's really all you're doing, and then you can start building the conditions. You could probably, I guess you could do it either way. You could You have to have your questions though before you start working on where it's gonna go, so you really have to get all your questions in there first, so. Okay, so this is what you have, so you're basically just starting to drag different things over there, so I think it's time to play. I think
Yeah,
everybody's
some
kinda-
are still starting it up with.
we did. Okay, so you ready? Okay, you wanna follow? I think that's a great idea. So this is yours, right? I think that's a great idea. So think about this, how you can start listing this created. So the very first thing we're gonna add is easy to do.
Okay, so I'll take over. If you want to watch what I'll just make one real quick. I'll add this geo point, right? Now the one thing about the geo point, you can only have one of them, right? You can't have, it's a layer, right? For you guys that are doing, they're in within, it's a layer. You can't have, like in a single layer, you know, 2 points, two points in a, you can't be asking like, show me the lemons and the oranges, right? You have to pick one feature for each row, right? So we have to pick, we have one geopoint question. You notice as soon as I added it, the geopoint is now disabled. You can't add another one. Okay. And then you can set the location. So with that set location, which just sets the default home location. So see, right now by default it's at 0, 0. 0 latitude, 0 longitude. That's probably not where your survey is about. So you can set that to be wherever you want. It's just going to be like the starting location. So we set it to Redlands here, but you can do wherever you want. So I'll just kind of eyeball this here. And
Where's the geolocator? Where does that take you?
oh yeah, that'll actually geolocate your current location.
So is it, how close are we when we do
Well,
that?
it's on. Oh, well, you're on Wi-Fi, so that might actually be okay. No, that's where it always dumps.
No.
If you're on the university network, that's where it will dump you.
Get you close now.
So got that. You can say, okay, what is the map going to be? Is it the topographic base map? If you guys have done ArcGIS, you'll recognize these. Is it that topographic base map, or do you want imagery? I'll go ahead and use imagery with labels. Right, so you can, it's a little bit more interesting here. And we can give it a question, like what is a label for this question, right? So, what I don't know what I'm doing.
You're looking for lost dogs.
What, lost dogs?
Lost dogs.
Okay. Where did you see this lost dog? There you go. And the hint is where you saw it. So you see the hint just shows up below it, so you can give a little bit more information if you want to. And oops. And I'm going to say this is a required question, right? So they have to answer it. And we don't need to really do this cache answer thing. It's fine. So we'll go ahead and add a new question now. So that's our first one. It's on our form.
Did you press submit or no?
No.
Okay.
I just pushed. What did I push? Just add.
And then you can just add.
Just add.
Oh no, submit would actually submit your survey. So, what's my next question? It's about a lost dog. What color was it?
Yeah, we're colored.
Yeah.
All right. And for this one, I'll do a single choice. Right. So a single choice versus a multiple choice. Multiple, you could. They're check boxes, right? So you could, if what color am I gonna have? Red, black, brown. With a multiple choice one with check boxes, I could pick that it was red and black, which maybe I do want to do. I don't know. A single choice, you can only pick one of the answers, right? So I'm going to do a single choice for this one, and you'll see here. Go back up to the label, and what color was it? And then we can give it different choices, right? So brown, We can add a question if you want. You can have more than 3. You just have to click the little plus button here. Okay. Red, I don't know, whatever other colors dogs are.
That's spotted.
Spotted, okay. Spotted. Dalmatians. Okay, wait, spotted. All right, and you can have it. Are we going to allow it to have other? Sure. Other color. All right, and then we can choose whether it's a vertical or horizontal. If we have a lot of questions, maybe vertical works better. I don't know, but you can see the difference there. So whatever you think works better. I'll say it's required. And I'll go back up here. I'm done with that question, so I'll go to add up here. So I'm to go out of this edit mode and go click the add button at the top here. I guess we could put a time, right? Time question. What time is it? What time did you see the dog? So you see, this is pretty straightforward, right? We're just adding questions. I can default it to the submitting time, so I default it to right now. And I'll add well, take a picture, of course. So I'll add an image. Take a picture of the dog if you can. That one's not required, right? You probably won't be able to take a picture. And how about, just so we know what it looks like, we'll rate the dog. Rate the lost dog. And we'll give it little hearts, right? So we're gonna rate, we'll default to 3 hearts for whatever reason. And an email so they can contact you. Okay. Making sense? Pretty straightforward. I mean, you can imagine yourself, making this for any number of reasons, like a lost dog thing.
So you can kind of see, this is a really simple survey. It's pretty linear, right? It's not branching off any place because there's really no branches. But let's say, I was kind of thinking as you're doing that, let's say you want to do cats and dogs. Is it a cat or is it a dog? Then you might go do it on 2 different areas if there's different characteristics or different things about that cat and the dog. I don't know if there would be, because it has colors, but you kind of get a sense of it. Depends. Obviously, when it's a survey, chances are you're going to have these questions that might lead to other questions, kind of like what the orange thing does.
Right.
Or you can do something really straightforward like this. There's really no dependencies where, depending on what they say, it's going to go someplace else and skip over one question and go to another question. So those are the kind of things you have to think of. I mean, obviously, when you do something like this, you're going to have to just basically sketch out what it is you're trying to do first, and then you're going to build it. So you have to kind of sense of where you're going. So.
Okay, so let's just say I'm done with this, just because we're running a little low on time. So I'm happy with this survey, the way that I set it up. We do have some appearance options here. So this tab over here is we can have different colors, and whether it has a header or not. So it's you're getting this little preview over here, right? I'll give it a different theme. It's kind of darker theme. That looks good. Settings. We can have it. We can change the message that pops up when you answer it. Thanks. Hope we've find the owner. Okay, and then I'll just show you this last feature here. So you can hit, this is a pretty good preview, but it's, you notice it looks different on your phone than it does on a browser or in a tablet. So if you hit preview, it's got these, what it looks like in those different form factors. So we've got, this is the desktop view. This is what it'll look like on a phone. What it looks like on a tablet. So it has this kind of responsive layout, and you can kind of play around with what that's going to look like. And when you're happy with it, I can hit publish. Oh, I guess I didn't save it.
Did it save it for you, looks like?
Oh, I'll
Yeah.
change what we say. Okay, yeah, publish.
So one of the things and obviously anybody's been working in Desktop Pro especially, also be saving this quite a bit too. So as you're working through just hit that save button down at the bottom every once in a while. Definitely don't build a whole survey without saving it. Because you don't want to lose
Like I
it.
just did.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
Okay, so now this is published. But I think by default it's private, right? I don't know, we have to go look.
Yeah,
Let me go check before I tell
Let me
you.
guess. I would certainly hope so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Just gonna submit it. So yes, you've published it, but it's not shared, right? So that doesn't help us much. Okay, so just to get back to where we were in this design thing here. I push publish. If you go over to collaborate, we can share pick how we want to share this. Like who can, do you want the whole world to have access to this? The way that Dave set it up, it was anybody that has a University of Redlands account. Or with a group instead of ArcGIS Online. For you that have used ArcGIS Online, you'll know what I mean. We can create, kind of smaller subgroups. So I'll go to collaborate here. And that's kind of cool. We can pick, so who can submit data to this. So I'll go ahead and say members of my organization, which is everybody at the university. I'll check that one. But I guess what's kind of nice here is we can, as a viewer, I can also look at the responses for this data. So I can say everybody can look at the responses, but only people at the University of Redlands can actually submit something. That's kind of nice. We're not doing anything with groups, so I'll go ahead and save that. And in this collaborate, there's a few different options here. So we can, this is the survey link. This is what you would send somebody to say, hey, go check out my cool form. It's really long. We used Bitly, which was shortened the link. If you want to, we can talk about that later. But you can shorten any URL with a link shortener. And there are two different options for how you use Survey123. One is in the browser, like we all did. There's actually an app too. If you go to the App Store and download Survey123, you can open any surveys that you have access to. The advantage of that is that you can download the survey and use it offline. So if you're going somewhere that doesn't have a good internet connection, you can still take data out in the field. So so that's why you would do that. So you can see here that you can pick whether to open it in a browser, whether to ask the user, do you want to open it in a browser, or do you want to open it in the app, or you can force it to open in the app. And yeah, so then, and that's it. And then if I hover over this is the QR code here. Then you can copy that and put it in whatever. That's how we got that. So in Pro, you would have access to this layer. So you can get to it the same way you get to anything in My Content, right? So on the catalog pane, you go to My Content, you'll see it there. Yeah.
It basically actually made a folder for you in your content. and called it whatever the name of the map was.
Yeah, if you go, yeah, it's actually kind of interesting to look at your content. You'll see it adds a new folder, and it'll put everything inside of there, which I guess is good. It keeps it all consolidated for you. It's kind of nice. Yeah.
Okay. So one of the things that, I guess the idea is that Survey123 is this is much faster to spin up than Collector. If you look on the back side of the handout, there's some more things about Collector. We knew we were not going to get very far into Collector today. If you, in the future, come see us in the center. We're over here in Lewis. If you have data collection needs that are beyond Survey123, that you really want to have a lot more layers on it, like Nate was mentioning, things like that, then that's where Collector comes in. And we've done that for lots of classes. A lot of classes use Collector. I think, did you say you used it in another class? Someone did? Yeah, Lillian's class, and I know you've used it tons, Betty. Collector is really, really powerful. And also, we're told for this year's new version of Collector, it's supposed to work more like Survey123, where it's going to have that going off in different places. We'll be amazed if that works, because that would be pretty cool. If you could do, if you had more of that functionality of Survey123 Collector, that'd be nicer. But come talk to us more about Collector. That's a much bigger animal to deal with.
I think you guys will cover that in Alana's
you
class.
definitely be doing that. So, but for, especially for people who aren't in Spotland class, we're really happy to sit down and work with anybody on this. They're really relatively easy to create if you've done it before. So, just a few more rules. So, any questions with that? Is everybody kind of successful trying to put a survey together a little bit?
Mm-hmm.
I'm hoping the handout will, if you didn't get into, you can kind of see how you make those conditions, because the conditions are really, I think, kind of the really important part of Survey123 is being able to create conditions that bring up different responses based on what they're giving you. What's up, Natty?
I just think that, I'm noticing you can only have one geo-point location in the survey. That's a bummer also. You should have being able to set multiple, I don't know, at least for the survey that I was creating, I wish that I had the option of making multiple locations.
What do you mean?
Multiple layers.
I guess so.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Because so mine was recycling bin tag kind of, where you're in a room and assess if there's a recycling bin there, and then I was set the location of where your room is, and then go set the location of where the nearest recycling bin is to that room, and it won't give me that option.
No,
That's true. Yep.
Two different
So-
things, yes. This is where you can see
It's a
Collector.
limitation already.
Right.
Yes.
Sorry.
Yes, definitely. Yes. You can see it's quick and easy, but it does
It is
not
quick
have
and easy.
all
It's
the
really nice.
things that
Yeah.
Collector would have for you.
I usually go to SB customer service.
Yeah.
Keep in mind every answer that you're putting in is going into a field in a
Right.
row in a layer. So if you think
Right.
about it like that, which is like the ArcGIS Online and do stuff that
On far left there, yeah.
right. So every answer we did is a point. We made a point for
Right.
this, right?
Okay.
So you can't have two
Two.
points for a single
Right.
row, right? You know that.
Yeah. So I guess
So that's that limitation, right?
Right.
It would be nice to have two layers in there,
Yes.
so that you could, if you added a second geopoint, maybe it's going to a different layer or something like that. I could see that. It'd also be nice to be able to base your response on
Right,
another
off-
layer,
yes,
right?
Yes, I could be how far away is the recycling bin to where my classroom was,
Sure.
You could say how many miles can make them get out,
Right.
measure it,
Yeah.
themselves, but yeah.
Yeah.
Other things, questions? You get a sense of how this thing works at least? Okay, cool. So you'll notice that, I guess, if you go back to, I don't know if it really matters, but if you go back, I guess if you go to My Surveys, but if you actually logged into ArcGIS Online, you would also see, this information is basically sitting in your content of ArcGIS Online. So, but that's getting down more into the weeds, but you can kind of see that right
But for
here.
you so this is what he just made, right? He puts a survey dash and then the name of the survey.